Why? Why dump a dog on the side of the road? That's your job.
It's just to pull the dog off the ditch and rather than take it 3 or 4 miles down the road to Woolworth Road where the landfill is. It kind of sickened me.
A KSLA News 12 investigation reveals even more accusations of Caddo Parish workers ditching responsibility while on the clock and showing little compassion for the dead. We're talking about family pets, perhaps, killed on parish roads, just thrown in ditches rather than taken to the landfill. So where's the accountability? We've learned it's shockingly absent when it comes to the Caddo Parish Solid Waste Department. Well, that's a strong accusation. We fully understand that. But after our KSLA News 12 report on this issue aired earlier this month, the parish responded, and they tell me on the heels of that report, they're now increasing accountability and updating policy to try to keep this from ever happening again.
And we've learned this likely wasn't just a one-time thing. So how many times has this actually happened, and for how long? Well,
tonight we take you on the hunt for those answers, and we share why we're led to believe this may be a prevailing problem.
And for a government employee or employees to do that is ridiculous.
Ashley Cage
It kind of sickened me.
And Mark Johnson live some 12 miles apart in the parish, but they share the same sentiments about the Caddo Parish Solid Waste Department.
It just let me know that somebody's not doing their job.
Why dump a dog on the side of the road? That's your job.
Earlier this month, Ashley told us how she witnessed a Caddo Parish solid waste truck.
That's it. That's the truck.
That looked just like this one. Stopped near her home on Flournoy Lucas Road, and 2 workers take a dog out of the bed of the truck and throw it into the ditch.
And you dump it on a road just because there's not a lot of houses.
You have reached the Caddo Parish Solid Waste Department.
Ashley says she called the sheriff's office, then the solid waste department to report what she saw.
And got a lady on the phone.
She then says the lady at Solid Waste admitted the workers had just been dispatched to an area not far away to pick up a deceased pit bull, and that someone would be right back out to pick up the dog again.
Something's not right about this whole situation.
So we waited along with Ashley on them to arrive so we could just ask, why did this happen? We waited for about an hour and a half out here on Flournoy Lucas for Solid Waste to come out here and pick up that dog. And just as I got in my car, I saw a Caddo Parish official pickup truck pull up, slow down as if it was going to stop, and then suddenly took off toward Buncombe Road. I got in my car, followed it. By the time I got to that intersection, it was long gone. So while I drove back into town to the Solid Waste Department for answers, only to discover their office is empty and no one to talk to.
Truck number 122 passed again, so I turned around.
Ashley tells me that same Caddo Parish pickup truck with the same female driver passed again. This time, she gave chase.
Got to the red light and she stopped. And I asked, are you going to do something about the dog? And she said, I'm sending someone out.
She knew exactly what you were talking about.
She knew exactly what I was talking about. Thank y'all.
So why the exhausting cat and mouse game over what the parish later admitted in this statement to KSLA News 12, that procedure was not followed by employees in this instance?
When this happened to me 3 months ago, I had no idea that it was, a pretty major problem like it is.
And that's what triggered a nerve with Mark Johnson.
There had been a big-sized dog hit on the road right out here.
He said he knew right away Ashley's situation couldn't be the only instance because he witnessed the same thing back in July after he called Caddo Parish Solid Waste to pick up a deceased dog on Barron Road.
There was a Caddo Parish truck with this emergency flashers on right here.
Mark says seconds after the truck pulled away,
I slowed down to about where the animal had been laying and saw that they had just pulled it off the road into the ditch by a log over there.
And just as Ashley did, Mark called Solid Waste for a second time.
The lady told me, yes, sir, they just picked it up. I said, no, ma'am, they didn't pick it up. They just drug it off the road and put it into the ditch.
So we can't help but wonder, how many times has this happened before, especially since the Solid Waste Department operates on an annual budget of $3 million of taxpayer money, no less. So we sent a public records information request to the Solid Waste Department asking for specifics and any paperwork to back up accountability in their deceased animal pickups and solid waste pickups for that matter. If their vehicles had GPS tracking so they at least knew where their vehicles and employees were at all time. Who was driving truck 122 that day that twice refused to stop to help us. where that original call came in about the deceased pit bull. And were those employees reprimanded for throwing that dog into the ditch? In a return email, the parish responded they have no written accountability protocol for solid waste or deceased animal pickups, no GPS in truck, so no way to track whether the workers ever make it to the landfill. And citing employee privacy, the email continues, they can't tell me who was driving pickup truck number 122 that day, or how, or even if the employees who threw that dog into the ditch were ever punished.
Somebody's just not doing their job.
But thanks to Mark Johnson.
If I could have caught them, no words can describe what would have went down.
And Ashley Cage seeing something and saying something. Caddo Parish now tells me the parish is reassessing the procedure and currently updating their written policy to be more stringent and increase accountability.
They know they're in the wrong.
And when we ask for a copy of their new written policy, their answer, we will forward this information to you. That was 13 days ago, and still no policy.
I hate to put blame or make people look bad, but they kind of made themselves look bad by doing what they did.
All right, in all fairness, I called other parishes and counties to see what kind of accountability they have in place. For example, let's just skip over the Red River to Bossier Parish. The Bossier Parish Police Jury tells me all solid waste pickups are done by their highway department. Those pickups are tracked by a ticketing system that shows workers arriving at a landfill. They use one over in Webster Parish. All highway department vehicles are tracked by GPS. They had them installed just a few years ago. So if any complaint comes in, they can immediately tell what employee and what truck was involved. We'll continue following up with Caddo Parish officials to see what changes are officially made.